So there are a few impacts that should be noted around the continuing inventory requirements. The first is around time and cost. Identifying unknown service lines is time consuming and expensive. But for utilities with a lot of unknowns in their inventory, it's going to be really important to try to bring this number down because the unknowns will impact your replacement goals. And if you have a significant amount of unknowns in your baseline inventory, you could end up with a replacement rate that's difficult, if not impossible, to meet. And then we obviously have another layer of complexity in terms of inventory management, since adding connectors to the inventory requires new records research and potentially site visits. And then there's a communication impact to consider. So the service line inventory and lead replacement information is sensitive and it needs to be communicated to the public in a thoughtful way. As Mark said, nobody likes problems without solutions. So let's get into some solutions and talk about how digital solutions can help you with some of these impacts and challenges. So one recommendation that we have is to leverage a tool that was built specifically for LCRR and now LCRI compliance. And as I talk through these concepts, you'll see some screenshots here of Trinex's leadCAST tool. So utilities are going to benefit from having a robust inventory management system, which allows them to easily understand, track, and manage materials in their inventory. It's also going to be important to have functionality in the field collection tool for capturing connectors, in addition to service lines. And then it's going to be really beneficial to have an inventory management tool that can store documentation such as photos and inspection logs, and one that includes an audit trail that allows tracking of changes over time. Another thing that's going to be really helpful is using a tool that's purpose-built to meet some of the newer requirements and more specific requirements of the LCRI, such as the non-lead validation pool requirement. So you can see a screenshot here of Trinex's validation pool dashboard in the middle of the screen, which is part of leadCAST. It's going to help utilities manage the non-lead validation process. Another solution is going to be to leverage predictive modeling when possible. So this is going to be critical for helping utilities with lots of unknowns to cut down on that overall number. And this applies regardless of whether or not you have lead or galvanized requiring replacement in your system. So for systems that do have lead or GRR, predictive modeling guides targeted field investigation and ultimately limits unneeded physical verifications. And what's also really valuable is the model's predictions can be used to label some of the unknowns in the inventory as either non-lead or lead, where the model is predicting very strongly one way or the other. For systems that don't have lead, but still have a lot of unknowns, statistical analysis can be done to demonstrate the absence of these materials in a representative subset of field verifications. Some states are accepting this approach and as a valid method for labeling all the rest of the unknowns as non-lead in the inventory based on that statistically representative subset.